Welcome to Starship TV. The early Hollywood studio system? The rise of the studio system. In the early 20th century, Hollywood transformed from a sleepy Los Angeles suburb into the center of the world's film industry. This transformation was largely driven by the emergence of a tightly organized, vertically integrated studio system. Major studios, such as Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer MGM, Warner Brothers, Paramount, 20th Century Fox, RKO and later Universal and Columbia, controlled every aspect of production, distribution, and exhibition. By the 1920s and 1930s, these studios operated almost like assembly lines, churning out films with speed and efficiency. They owned theater chains, signed talent to long-term contracts, and developed a style and tone that reflected each studio's identity, talent development, and the actor as a product. In the golden age of Hollywood, studios were not just film producers, they were talent factories. Actors were discovered, groomed, and molded into stars, under the direct supervision of studio executives. Training schools, many studios had their own acting schools and vocal coaches. These institutions taught diction, posture, and presence. For example, MGM's school system was known for refining stars like Judy Garland and Elizabeth Taylor. The look. Actors were chosen not only for talent, but for an interesting or unique look that set them apart. Their images were carefully crafted, makeup, hair, body language, all tailored to fit archetypal roles. Contracts. Actors signed exclusive long-term contracts, often lasting up to 7 years. This meant a studio controlled not just what films an actor appeared in, but also their public image, press releases, and even personal relationships. Writing and scripts. Scripts during the studio era often went through multiple hands before reaching production. Writers worked in writing departments, not as freelancers. The studios emphasized tight, efficient dialogue, 3-act structures, and emotionally compelling storytelling. Many films from this period feel cleaner and more focused in structure than today's often looser or spectacle-driven narratives. The screenplays serve the visual rhythm of black and white cinematography, and were designed to play to actor strengths, punchy dialogue, and plot clarity. Black and white atmosphere and visual storytelling. Black and white film was not simply a technological limitation. It was a style that created its own mood. Cinematographers in the 1930s and 1940s mastered the use of light and shadow, drawing from German expressionism and classical painting. Contrast and texture. The absence of color led to a deeper focus on framing, texture, and contrast. It created a stylized, often dreamlike or mysterious tone, particularly in genres like film noir. Mood creation. Lighting setups like low-key lighting became synonymous with mystery, tension, and drama. Black and white films often feel more intimate and dramatic because of this visual economy. Camera and cinematography quality. The older Hollywood cameras were large, heavy, and used film stock rather than digital sensors. Yet they produced a remarkably rich image, especially in the hands of skilled cinematographers. Cinematographers like Greg Toland, Citizen Kane, pioneered deep focus, unconventional angles, and long takes that would influence generations. Mechanical mastery. The limitations of the time forced creativity. Dolly shots, cranes, and painted matte backdrops created believable worlds with fewer resources. Studio sound stages, controlled indoor environments allowed for precise lighting and set design. The transition to color, 1950s to 1980s. By the 1950s, color film became mainstream, especially with the development of Technicolor and later Eastman color. As American society evolved, so did its films. 1960s, breaking the mold. Color expanded visual storytelling, allowing bolder artistic choices. Films like Lawrence of Arabia and The Graduate used color for psychological depth and visual spectacle. Directors experimented with style, breaking free from traditional editing and narrative structures. 1970s. Grit and realism. This was the era of New Hollywood, marked by directors like Scorsese, Coppola, and Spielberg. Cinematography grew more naturalistic, often using available light and handheld cameras. Color palettes reflected cultural upheaval, grim, earthy tones for realism and emotion. 1980s, blockbuster era. Filmmaking became more commercially focused, with polished, big-budget visuals. The rise of visual effects and new lighting technologies added slickness. Films like Blade Runner fused artistic cinematography with cutting-edge effects. American nuance in classic film. Classic American cinema carries a unique nuance. Themes of freedom, opportunity, individualism, and reinvention were frequent. Characters often represented the American everyman or dreamer. Optimism, even amidst struggle, was a recurring tone, whether in musicals, dramas, or westerns. Before we continue, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Comparing then to now. Aspect. Studio era, 1920s to 1950s. Modern era, 2000s present. Actor development. Trained and molded in-house, often independent or influencer-driven. Writing. Focused, concise, structured, variable, can be spectacle-heavy or fragmented. Cinematography. Craft-driven, symbolic, low-tech, high-definition, often CGI-heavy. Atmosphere. Created through light and shadow. Often replaced by digital effects. Film medium. Black and white, early color. Digital, IMAX. HDR. Distribution. Theatrical first. Streaming first. Global markets. American nuance. National identity central. Often more global or politically tailored. Conclusion. The legacy of the studio system. The classic Hollywood studio system, for all its limitations, created enduring artistry. It was disciplined, efficient, and structured to elevate both the story and the performer. Today's film industry is more open and decentralized, allowing for wider participation but also resulting in less consistency in quality and vision. Modern films may reach wider audiences with stunning effects and vast universes. But the artistry of classic cinema remains unmatched in intimacy, structure, and emotional resonance. Black and white still stirs the soul, carefully crafted dialogue still carries weight, and the influence of those early studio titans still echoes in every frame today. You're watching Starship TV.